A warm welcome to Derbyshire. Donington Park GP circuit is up next for round 2 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2012. My name's Steve Day and I'll be bringing you all the action from this second round after an opening day at Brands Hatch, which was pretty wet. So the dry tyres are out and first action on circuit. We're going to bring you a quick highlight package from one of the races from the Daley Motorsport Super Twins and Formula 400. Now coming into this event, David Allingham was points leader, number 11 on the Aprilia 450, but on pole position for this race was number 16, Steve Tomes. You can see him there just on the black Kawasaki 650 and the white helmet, getting the whole shot ahead of some 6 or 7 Aprilia 450s, all jostling away for second position. Not getting away too well there, that's number 50, Stephen Jones on the Honda 400. But it wasn't too long before Steve Tomes inflicted some pain on the rest of the field. Steve, a specialist, you could say, at Mallory Park and Donington Park. The 650 Kawasaki that he's on is obviously eligible for this class, as are these Aprilia 450s. You can see there with the bright orange leathers, number 54. That's Sam Cox, who's having one of the best weekends of his life. He had a bit of an off at Brands Hatch a couple of weeks ago, but luckily he's up and fit and ready. But Tomesy, number 16, well, he went across the line to see the last lap flag, and the battle for second was on up ahead. Sam Cox held that ahead of Michael Clifford, and this, the tussle for fourth place between David Allingham and number 71 there, Callan Cooper. Unfortunately, on this final lap, Callan Cooper fell, and that left Tomes there to lead ahead of Sam Cox. Third place there, Michael Clifford, and David Allingham in fourth with Tom Oliver in fifth. As they make their way around the final corner and onto the Wheatcroft Straight, it was Steve Tomes that picked up the 25 points in the Daley Motorsport Super Twins and F400s, with Sam Cox taking second position ahead of Michael Clifford, and there just going across the line was Tom Oliver in fifth place. So the results and the standings from that race then: Tomes won from Sam Cox, Michael Clifford finished in third place ahead of David Allingham, Tom Oliver and James Robinson in sixth. And there's Tomesy in the middle. So onto the grid we go. Race 2, the Thundersport banners are up. We're ready to go. Nice to see the sun is shining. And on pole position should be Steve Tomes, number 16 on that black Kawasaki 650. There's number 88, Josh Daley, sitting second on the grid ahead of Will Hodgson, number 14. Rider from Wigan who entered this weekend in 7th place in the championship, and there running off the front row, number 54 Sam Cox, who did a 360 into Surtees at Brands Hatch, crashed but is good to go for this one. And there's Steve Tomes, sponsored as ever by RLR Motorsports, that also follow Sam Hornsey, etc. We'll get to see a bit of Sam racing a little bit later on, but this packed out grid here at Donington Park, the Daley Motorsport Super Twins and F400s look like they're ready to go, and that looked like a pretty good start there from Steve Tomes, just on the left of the picture, but here he is with the white helmet on and the black bike, and as he tips into turn 1, it's actually going to be Will Hodgson into Redgate that looks as though he may well have got the whole shot They make their way around Hollywood. They all filter through. Every one of them has made it through, which is good to see. But now filtering his way to the front as they make their way down into the old hairpin, it's Tom Oliver, the runner-up from last year's Super Teen Championship, who's got the lead. Steve Tomes was in second, but Will Hodgson has just nudged out alongside him, and Josh Daley there, the unmistakable bright green and yellow Kawasaki 400, has not only made his way past Steve, and he's actually got past Will Hodgson now and moves up into second place. So a good start there from the Kawasaki 400, not always the best off the line, but once he gets going and starts putting in the laps, Josh Daley is mustered around this place here at Donington Park. Now they head their way into the Foggy S's. The Foggy S's, which was changed a year or two ago. It's nowhere near as tight as it was when the MotoGP machines were coming here, but it's certainly still as challenging there. We see Russell Brown a little bit further back, and as the riders come up from the Melbourne Loop and into the final turn, it is Josh Daley that now has the lead. There's Sam Cox taking the outside line around Goddard's, and they make their way back down the Wheatcroft Straight, which also happens to be the start-finish straight, and it's Josh Daley, number 88, that leads from Tom Oliver there on the Aprilia 450. Steve Tomes, we just saw pick up a race win a little while ago in third position, and there is Sam Cox around the outside there, number 54 on the Aprilia 450, the orange and blue leathers, hanging it around the outside to move up a spot also, and he's putting in some decent lap times. Down through Craner Curves into the old hairpin. There's Sam Cox, number 54, former Super Team, and there's some gravel dust being pushed up there as a rider down, and that's Dave Taylor looking pretty unhappy with himself on the Yamaha, but it's Josh Daley that leads. Steve Tomes has moved up into second position, so was the gravel dust an indication that maybe we've lost Tom Oliver? Tom Oliver is there, but he's fallen back a bit, so maybe he's run wide. I saw David Allingham had a neat inside line as they went into the Foggy S's. That's number 94, Jamie Thackeray. His brother Luke is having a fine time here at Donington Park, and as they head into Goddard's, it is Josh Daley that leads. A bit of a wobble from the front end of Steve Tomes, Kawasaki there, and then Sam Cox in third, Callan Cooper fourth, and Tom Oliver just slips in to fifth position ahead of Will Hodgson. A bit further back through the field, Michael Clifford, Curtis Rothwell on the Suzuki 650, and James Robinson also faring pretty well. So that's Callan Cooper with the orange and black leathers, just behind Sam Cox, ahead of Tom Oliver and Will Hodgson. But at the front, it is Josh Daley that leads it from Steve Tomes. Tomes is just gradually edging a little bit closer each lap that goes by. A 42.5 was just posted by Steve Tomes just then, and we've got a 42.9 is the best lap time from Josh Daley. They head around Schwantz Curve into McLean's, and then up towards Coppice, this blind right-hander. You almost have to tip in just as you get to the crest of it, and Tomes is closing in. On around Coppice they go, and onto the Dunlop Straight. No Dunlop Bridge, of course, anymore. There were rumours that that was going to be rebuilt, but Tomes is now pulled out of the slipstream, and surely is going to take the lead, and Josh Daley's braking late. Oh, and they're side by side as they go into the Foggy S's. Josh Daley getting a little bit caught up there, and that was big and brave from Josh Daley on the Kawasaki. We'll see how that one turned out as we watch Will Hodgson making his way through, but Daley clearly has made it count through the Melbourne Loop, a little bit further back down the track, but Daley's had to pull up at Goddard's, and Steve Tomes goes through. And is there a bike problem there for Josh Daley? He sits up and he's punching the tank, so angry, and that's the end of Josh Daley's race. He's out of this one, is he? And yeah, maybe he's run out of fuel, something like that, but Josh Daley's race looks to be over. Well, he's still getting in the way of Will Hodgson, but that now means that Steve Tomes will have an unassailable lead at the front. That's it, Josh, you need to pull out of the way. Will Hodgson goes past, and or does he, as they make their way down into Craner Curves. A bit further back there, that's Chris Spink, number 42, and Alex Baker, number 22. Alex, a rider that you'll see in our Aprilia 450s, the GP Racing Dream, the next step, which will be on Modus TV in a couple of weeks' time. But out front, well, with Josh Daley having exited the scene, he's still in the race, just about. That means Steve Tomes' lead is, what, 4 or 5 seconds now, and moving up into second place there, just on the left of your screen, is number 71, Callan Cooper, ahead of Sam Cox. And Josh Daley, well, all of a sudden has found his pace again. Maybe there isn't a problem with his bike. Steve Tomes, leg out, Rossi style, through Goddard's. There's not long to go now for Tomes. He's just got to cruise around to take this victory, and in second place there, well, it's a bit of a toss-up between 3 or 4 riders, and Josh Daley once again has gone missing, and he's having a problem every time as he maybe goes down the gearbox into Goddard. So Daley once again falls back. It's Cox that's in second there, 54, ahead of 71, Callan Cooper. There is number 20, Tom Oliver, ahead of Will Hodgson, number 14. Look a little bit further back, that's number 19, Steve Ferguson, leading Paul Wardle on the Suzuki and Ozzy Maddy on the Kawasaki. They're battling for 21st, 22nd and 23rd position. There was some 36 starters out on this grid, so a full grid of Dutton Motorsport Super Twins and 400s. Plenty of Aprilia 450s out there as well, and you can see those guys there battling it out for the podium positions. And that's Ozzy Maddy with his hand up in the background as we just take a look at Lewis Black, number 100, going through. Ozzy Maddy had his arm up as they headed into McLean. So Maddy, yes, he's retired and just helping the men and women in orange there, pushing the bike back to safety. Last lap flag is out. Steve Tomes should, well, it's in the bag really. He's just fanning out wide there. A number of different lines you can take into Redgate Corner. Makes his way into Hollywood and has time for a big stare around. He won't see anyone behind him just yet, and he can just cruise around because this win is in the bag. Easy does it through the wonderful Craner curves and then down a couple of gears into the old hairpin, a right-hand turn that's a little bit quicker than it looks. You then flat out and round this wonderful left-hander, one of my favourite corners back when I was racing. That Schwantz curve, down a couple of gears again into McLean's before winding on the power, short stretch up to Coppice. Probably just snip down a gear or two maybe, on your knee. It's a long winding right-hander before you head on to the Dunlop straight. There's James Robinson, number 33, a rider that you would have seen clinch the GP3 crown at Thundersport GB back in 2011. James currently leading the Mini Twins Cup standings, and he's in 6th place overall. But around the final bend we go, and Steve Tomes, well, it's all been a bit easy since the exit of Josh Daley, and Tomes wins here at Donington Park. He crosses the line, and it's a race for second. It's going to be Callan Cooper that takes second spot ahead of Sam Cox and Will Hodgson, I believe, there in 4th. Yes, Tom Oliver then, after going grass tracking a little bit earlier on, finishes in 5th place behind Will, and James Robinson finishes in 6th. There's Steve Tomes, very happy in the middle, with Callan Cooper to the left and Sam Cox to the right. And the standings, Steve Tomes leads from Tom Oliver in the championship fight ahead of David Adingham. Josh Daley in 4th ahead of Sam Cox and Will Hodgson.
Steve Tomes, winner of the Dutton's Motorsport Super Twin 650 Open. That was quite a close race there for a while with Josh Daley.
Yeah, young Josh, I think about 30 years older than young Josh. He was riding superbly. I got my hands full with him, but it looks like he was suffering from gearbox problems, unfortunately. So that ended that race, which I think would have been a really good, close finish. Managed to then have quite a clear gap, just read my pit board and controlled it. But, you know, on the 650 Kawasaki that I've got now, you know, RLR Motorsports have prepared it, really good machine, and I'd like to thank Ricky Leddy for preparing that. I think I've got a bit of a speed advantage over some of these young uns, which I think I deserve at my age. But I'd also like to thank Mark Hornsey of Hornsey Steels for helping us, Phil and Gwen Morris, and Racing Lines of Derby for keeping us on track. We just would not be doing it without those people. And also Morris Oils and RK Chain and Talon Chains and Sprockets. Thank you very much.